A very good morning, students. I hope every one of you is in a good health. So, today we're gonna study about separation of mixtures. Since we were doing chapter number 2 of our chemistry portion, and chapter is matter around us pure? So, in this chapter, we were reading about the chemical forms of matter. That is, how do they behave? They are actually pure substances and mixtures, and in mixtures we have learned that mixtures are not pure substances. The elements or compound are just mixed together randomly, and then the mixtures are prepared. So since it is not a chemical process, it just physically combines and they attains their own property, so we can separate them also by undergoing some physical process of separation. So in this today's lecture we will be studying about the separation techniques of mixtures. So since the methods which are used depends upon the nature of the constituent, that means whether the mixture is solid and solid together, or it can be liquid into liquid, or it can be solid into liquid. So we have to take care of the separation techniques. So separation techniques will also be different depending upon the property or the quality of mixture or the nature of the constituents. So the various physical process in which are commonly used to separate the constituents, there are many actually. It can be sublimation, it can be magnetic separation, filtration, centrifugation. There are a lot of techniques, so we will be studying all those techniques in this lecture. So generally there are three types of mixtures. It can be mixtures of two solids, like if we mix salt and sugar together, or any grains, food grains like rice and any dal in it, so it's also a mixture. Like you would have seen your mothers this just sieve the wheat, or they sieve the rice when they cook, before cooking food. So they just take out all the pebbles out of the rice, so that is a solid into solid mixture. And then the other is mixture of a solid and a liquid. So when we dissolve sugar into water, it is a mixture of a solid into liquid, but it dissolves in the water, but still it is a solid into liquid. So but if we dissolve any sand into the liquid, then the sand is not miscible, so we can separate by filtration, simple process. And if there are two liquids mixed together, then we have to take the other separation techniques. So we will be learning about those in today. Okay, so first we will be studying with the help of book. Since your NCERT book is the best in this, I don't have to make any notes because that is a very concise portion. I write the notes only for those portions which are given here and there in your book, so that you can compile them. But for this you can easily go through your book one by one, line by line, and that is okay. So the first is, how do we obtain colored component, that is dye, from blue or black ink? So you would have seen ink or any dye, like you don't use fountain pen these days, but if you have seen your elder sisters and brothers using the fountain pen, or you have seen ink ever in your life, that ink is not a single component. Actually it is a mixture. It is a mixture of two different components, or maybe three. So we have to check out that whether that dye is having a color, or which type of color in it. So we're gonna check that it is up. We will have to separate the solute part of the dye from the liquid dye. Okay, so for that we have to take we have to do some preparation, since this is all done in the laboratory, and we can see in the laboratory once the school gets reopened. We have to take, okay, now I will like to tell you that some kind of apparatus which we use in the laboratory. So this which you are seeing is this is a stand, tripod stand, which we call a tripod stand, this. Okay, and above this we keep a net like a thing which is called as wire gauze, and this is a Bunsen burner which will give a flame, and this cylindrical portion is called as a beaker, and this round dish is called as watch glass, or we can also take china dish. So this is of glass, transparent, and this is just a stand here on which it is kept. Okay, so in this we will have to take water. In this beaker we have to take water, and then we will switch on the flame of this burner, which is called as Bunsen burner, or simple burner we can call it. So when we will switch on the flame of this burner, the water in the beaker will start boiling. and on the top of the beaker we have to keep a watch glass. So when the water will boil, it will increase the temperature of the liquid which is present in the watch glass, which is an ink. So after some time we will see that the ink will also start boiling. We will not heat the ink directly because ink will just dry out and it will stick to the surface of this watch glass. Okay, so like we saying कि जल जाएगा, so it will create some kind of mess here, so it will not grow as a proper because dye will stick to the surface of the watch glass. So to prevent that, we will keep it on a double boiler. We will keep this watch glass on this beaker, and when the water will heat or evaporate or it will start boiling, the ink will also start boiling, and after some time we're gonna see that all the water is being evaporated and we will just get some kind of a powdered form of residue on the watch glass, which is the solute particle or the solute portion of the solution which was mixed in that. Okay, so this is a simple experiment, or we can call this is a separation technique of a dye from ink. If question comes, how will you separate dye or colored component from any ink? So the answer will be by evaporation. Okay, so don't get confused. We will do evaporation to separate the component of dye or any blue black ink from any colored portion. Okay, so here it is. There are some questions. They are very easy. I will discuss with you here. So what do you think has evaporated from the watch glass? The water or the solvent which was present in the solution. Since these mixtures are not called as true solutions, but colloids and suspensions are also called as, we can call them colloids. So ink is a colloid. So the liquid portion from the that colloidal solution has been evaporated from the watch glass. Is there a residue on the watch glass? Residue means the remaining portion which is left out. Okay, जो बच जाता है उसको residue बोलते हैं. तो residue is the remaining portion which is left out. So okay, so the residue is the colored component of the dye. Okay, the solute part of the dye. What is your interpretation? Is ink a single substance or it is a mixture? Interpretation means what is your judgment? What have you understood from that? Okay, what have you understood? क्या समझे हो मतलब? Okay, so what do you understood by all this? That if I ask you the question that is ink a single substance, that means is it a pure substance or a mixture? So you all will answer that it is a mixture because it is made from two different components, that is liquid and solute. Solute is the dye, pigment, colors, and the other one is water. So when we evaporated it, we just got the residue which was the solute part. But if we evaporate the plain water, we won't get anything because it is just a pure substance and the water will evaporate and we will not get any residue in it. But still, since we got some residue of ink or dye in that, that means it is the mixture. Understood? Thank you. Now, the next is how can we separate cream from milk? This is a very common thing. You would have seen your mothers just taking out the butter from the curd or any cream at your homes also. What do they do? They churn them into the mixer jar, or in the primitive times, still back some years back also, even nowadays also, the ladies just churn up that all the cream or the curd, and then we find some creamy or light fluffy butter which rises up. So all that process of churning the milk, the curd or the cream causes some solute part to rise up, and since it is lighter on weight, so it will come up or it will float on the water. So that removal of the solute part from the liquid is called as centrifugation. So the word is centrifugation. I know this is new for you, but you will be very familiar to the word after the end of this lecture. So we get full cream milk in the markets, okay, and you would have noticed that there are different types of milk in the market, which is on the packet it's mentioned full cream milk and the toned milk or the double toned milk. Okay, so what is the difference in those milk? Like full cream milk is that milk in which all the cream is there in the milk. Okay, if you'll boil that milk, you will get a thick creamy layer of the cream on the top of that container in which you have boiled it. But if you take toned milk, you will get the lesser amount of cream layer on the top of the milk. And if you will take the double toned milk, you will get even less amount of layer than all the other type of milks. So because the toned milk and the double toned milk is different from the full cream milk, because the cream of the milk has been removed. Okay, so how it is possible? Because generally we boil the milk and then the cream will just form a layer on the top of the surface, and then we just make it cool down, and then the cream gets thicker. But the milk which we buy from the market is not boiled, it's just pasteurized milk, but it's not boiled milk, but the cream has been taken out from the milk which are mentioned as toned milk. So that process is done by the help of centrifugation. So the question might come, how do we separate cream from the milk, or how do we separate butter from the curd, or how do we separate the blood cells from the blood? Okay, if you remember, you have read that blood has different components in it. That is, plasma is the liquid portion, and then we have blood cells also, that is RBCs, WBCs and platelets. So all these things are, three things are blood cells which are mixed in the liquid portion, which is the plasma. But if we need to separate the solute portion or the blood cells from the plasma, liquid plasma, we will undergo the process called as centrifugation. Okay, so the okay, I will write it here. Centrifugation, the spelling of centrifugation, it is CENTRIFUGA. So the word is centrifugation. Okay, so this is a simple technique in which we centrifuge. This has principles and a mechanism which I will be giving you. So here, just centrifuge is by using a centrifuging machine for 2 minutes. If a centrifuging machine is not available in the school, you can activity. Okay, this is for just, okay, we just have to see how the milk is churned. You can also see your washing machine or your mixture jar. Whenever you churn something, whenever you make any mango shake or any lassi, you would have seen all the cream comes on the top, all the creamy portion rises up. So what happens, the things which are lesser in weight will rise up due to the gravity, because gravity will pull the heavier things down on the bottom of the surface, or heavier, since the water is heavy, so it will sink in the bottom, and the cream is light. Because have you seen oil floats on water? You know that oil floats on water. So oil and butter are of same texture. So since the butter and the cream are lighter in weight than water, it will come up, or it will rise up, or it will float on the liquid portion, and the liquid is heavier, so it will sink down. And in the case of the blood cells, since blood cells are thicker, they are heavier, so they will settle down. So this is a simple process. I would like to show you with the help of this diagram in a different book. Okay, now here, this is a simple machine. There are a lot of bigger machine in the centrifuge, in this pasteurization industries in which the milk is pasteurized. So they have a big chambers of the centrifuge machine. In this, they have some little space here, and we can add the our test tubes here, and then it will rotate. The machines rotates, and then if okay. So a kind of this, actually they can be different kinds of machines, but it's just an overview. So here are the test tubes. So they are kept in the inside the machines, and then it spins very on a very high rotation. Rotation can be it can be changed. It can be lesser rotation per second, or the numbers can be increased. It depends upon the what kind of a liquid we want to centrifuge. So after the end of this, we see that all the solute particle deposited on the bottom, because that is heavy, because due to the gravity, when we gonna spin something, all the heavy part will sink down in the bottom. So if we will spin anything, so all the solute particles which will be present in the liquid, they will settle down like this, and we will get the clear fluid. But in the case of butter, we will get the clear fluid here in the bottom, and all the cream will form a up layer in the upside. Okay, so this is how the centrifugation is done. We call it a centrifuge machine, and the process is called a centrifugation. Once again, I will show you this book. So a question is, how do you observe on churning the milk? What happens when we churn the milk? We see that all the cream floats on the top of the liquid. You can also do at your home today or tomorrow. What you have to do is that take 1 glass of milk, okay, unboiled milk, and then churn it into the mixture jar. Churn it for in the mixie jar. Churn it for 2 minutes. You will see that there are a frothy layer of cream which will form on top of the milk. So that is called as a centrifuge. When we rotate any liquid on a very higher speed for a time span, all the lighter portion will float up and the heavier portion will sink down in the bottom due to the gravitational pull and spinning. So there is the principle of the centrifugation machine. So this is used in the separation of many things, like applications are very important. So you can underline this. The principle is that please underline this also, since I'm not teaching in the classroom, so we have to cooperate. Underline this line. The principle of is that the denser particles are forced to the bottom and the lighter particles stay at the top when spun rapidly. Please underline this. Okay, this is a very important, because this is the principle behind. Sometimes question comes, principle is asked. What is the principle? Principle means what is the main phenomena of this technique. Okay, so when we now okay, so also please make sure that here also whenever we have some colloidal solutions, since if we have suspensions we can easily separate them with the help of filter paper, but if we had colloids like ink, if you want to separate ink also, we here in the first this activity we have done that we can evaporate the ink, the water from the dye. But we can also undergo centrifugation. If we undergo centrifugation, all the solute particles of the ink will settle down in the bottom of the test tube and we will get the water on the top. So when we have to get the liquid as well as the solute particle, so we will undergo this centrifugation. But in the first case the water has been evaporated, so we didn't got any water. But if we want water also to be there and the solid to be there separately, so we will use this separation technique called as centrifugation. Okay, so please learn this word centrifugation. It's not that difficult. Centrifugation is the word and centrifuge is the technique. Okay, so applications are very important. Please read this application from your NCERT book itself. That it is used in diagnostic laboratories for blood and urine tests. It is used in dairy and home to separate butter from cream, and it is also used in washing machines to squeeze out the water from the wet clothes. So you would have seen your mothers using a washing machine. When they spin the clothes also, all the water just drains down from the cloth. Okay, if you're having any wet cloth and you spin your clothes in the washing machine, all the water comes out, because when the clothes move at a very higher speed in the rotation, all the water due to the gravity pull comes in the bottom and it drains out from the machine. So this is how the clothes are dried up in the washing machine. So I think that is clear. If you have any problem with the centrifugation process, you can ask me. I will explain you again, but I think it is pretty much clear to you now. So the next we want to do is the separation of two liquids when they are immiscible. Now we have two words which is called as miscible and immiscible. Miscible means which are mixed together, and immiscible means which are not mixed, which do not mixed. Okay, so immiscible liquids example would be oil and water, because oil do not mix with the water, it just forms a different layer. So we can easily separate them by a separating funnel. It's very easy. Like here you can see it's a separating funnel, in which if we have mixture of kerosene oil and water, so kerosene oil will not mix with the water, so we can keep the mixture here and we can just allow it to rest for some time, and we will just keep it undisturbed, so that it will form different layers. Because if we'll mix it or if we'll keep on shaking, we will not get a layer. So we want a layer basically. So when it will get undisturbed for a time, for a while, so we can see different layers. Since water is heavier than kerosene oil, it will come in the bottom, and kerosene oil is lighter in weight, so it will make a second layer film. And here is the stopcock, in which we can just make sure that the flow of the water or the liquid which will come by drop will be maintained. So we will just open this top cork and we will allow the water drop by drop to fall from this tube, and we will collect the water in a beaker. As soon as the liquid comes here, the layer reaches here, we'll just stop the mouth of this funnel, and the kerosene oil will not be able to move out of this funnel. And this is how we will get water separately into a beaker and kerosene oil into this funnel, and then we can separate them easily. So this was the process of separation of two immiscible, please remember the word immiscible, liquids. This is how we separate two immiscible liquids which do not mix. So this is also you have to study. And then there are some applications that where are they used. So they are used in, these are the uses of this or applications, so just read them like this. So these are used to separate mixtures of oil and water, and we also use them in the extraction of iron from its ore. So iron do not exist as an iron, it exists as a magnetite ore, and from that magnetite ore we have to extract it to the pure form of iron. Since it's a very long process, so in this process we also use this technique of separation techniques to extract the iron from its ore. And then in this we use molten iron, we melt the iron, and then the lighter slag is removed from the top. The thing which are lighter we just remove from the top, and by this method to leave the molten iron at the bottom in the furnace. So the molten iron is heavy, since the iron is a metal and it's heavy, so it will just stick to the bottom of the furnace, and the things which will float on the top, they are removed, because slag is the unwanted substance which is lighter in the weight. So this we can use this process there also in the extraction of the iron from its ore. So the next we're gonna do is that how we separate a mixture of salt and ammonium chloride. This is very important and very easy. So as you can see the arrangement here, we have again a tripod stand, and then we have a china dish. It is a dish, kind of a plate, kind of a substance which is made from a bone china. We call it a china dish. It's a lab apparatus. And then we have a burner here. We will turn the flame on, and here you can see we are having an inverted funnel. Okay, so this is a glass funnel which is inverted. On this, inside it we have a mixture of two different solids. Like in the beginning of the this lecture I've told you, we will have mixture of two solids, mixture of solid and liquid, and mixture of two liquids. So we have covered mixture of solid and liquid, we have done ink. Then we have done mixture of two liquids, that is kerosene oil and water, and then we have done mixture of solid and liquid in the form of that cream and milk, and the other one is now mixture of two solids. So here it comes is mixture of ammonium chloride and salt. Now ammonium chloride is AlCl3, which is a salt. Please learn all these names because you will need this in the chapter further. So we will take ammonium chloride and the mixture of salt. Since ammonium chloride is a volatile substance, that means when we heat this, it evaporates. Okay, it evaporates. This solid state will change into vapor state directly. If you remember when we read about the matter, about the physical properties of matter, that is solid is converted into liquid first, and then liquid converted into gas. But there is a process called sublimation, in which the solid directly goes to the gaseous state, and then from the gaseous states they directly come to the solid state. So this will happen in this process of separation. And ammonium chloride or naphthalene balls you have seen, and there are a lot more of things which undergo the sublimation. So this setup is done, and when we will keep a mixture of, actually we have to separate ammonium chloride from this mixture of salt. So for this we will heat this. So after heating this ammonium chloride, since it's a sublimating substance, so it will just evaporate, and it will try to move out. And we have we have kept the plug of this mouth off. We have placed a cotton plug here so that the fumes of the ammonium chloride should not go out, and since they will not have any space, so they will try to move out, so they will just deposit in the walls of this funnel. And after some time, when all the evaporation is being done, all the ammonium chloride is evaporated, all the fumes have been settled down, there is no more fumes in this funnel, so we can switch the flame off. And soon after we will see that this all the edges of this inside edges of this conical flask will have some white color of powder in it. that is the sublimate, because sublimate will deposit, it will be in a gaseous form, because sublimation, when any solid converts into gaseous, and then gaseous again converts into solid form, so the gas will cool down and then it will again form a solid form. So again it is a ammonium chloride. So we can obtain ammonium chloride from this funnel, and all the salt which is non-sublimate will remain here in the china dish. So this is how we can separate two different mixtures of solid, that is solid is in the salt and ammonium chloride. So we will have ammonium chloride here in the funnel and salt here. So this is complete. So please read all these 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 4 techniques we have read today. So please go through your book. It's just one page, just have a reading, and I'm sure you will understand it. And still you have any problem, just ask me, I'll help you out. And just do the question and answers which I'll give you, and let me know what is your problem, and try to understand this is the main part of the chapter, very important, and every time questions come from these topics. Okay, so in the next lecture we will study the other remaining separation techniques. Till then, please study well and take care, and please do your work on time. I want more homeworks, okay, in each and every subject and in each and every sections. Okay, so thank you.